I'll just wait for Sandy, who's messaging me like crazy on LinkedIn right now, going, I can't join. I can't join. Oh my goodness. Still trying to add Sandy in. There we go. All righty. There we go. Come on in. I feel like I should open a virtual door and Sandy can actually walk in. Otherwise, it just feels like this is going to be a stream with not just me on it. Hi, everybody. We're going through a slight technical difficulties in terms of getting people in. Hey, I sent you a panelist invite. You didn't get that? What's going on? You can't even talk. I can't even unmute you.
Can you hear me?
Come on now. I sent you a
Oh my
panelist
God,
invite. I even promoted you as a panelist. You aren't getting that prompt on your side either.
nothing.
I'm promoting you. There you go. You suddenly disappeared. Are you coming over?
Hey.
Okay. Hey. Oh my goodness. It's finally happening. Now, if you can't tell, this is a brand new look for me because I'm no longer staring down at my computer and everyone's seeing my, my shadow from down below. I've actually propped this thing up in like a kind of a file folder kind of thing. So now I'm actually staring in front of the camera. I'm doing best practices that I've been hearing all over the web. So apparently the past 3 weeks, I've been doing nothing but wrong. So anyway, this is remotely interesting episode number 3. And what we're going to be doing today is going over, excuse me, we're going to be going over some cool tools that we have encountered and use and promote, and some other fun stuff, and also some projects that we're aware of that are coming up that you may want to be a part of. So in this session, I'm going to be sharing in a mural that Sandy hastily put together that we're going to use for this. But what you can do is,
I thought you were not going to put my name on this one.
No, I mean, come on. I'm just rolling with the idea that Sandy couldn't get into the webinar. She made a mural that looks like, after the majesties that have been your previous efforts with the remote best practices, it's kind of like, okay, headline, link, done. We got it.
Yes, I'm done with it. No more.
That's okay. I'm only kidding with you. So we're going to share on the screen. If you do happen to meander in through YouTube, or if you happen to register for the Zoom and you are part of this motley crew of interest, then do let me know. Raise your hand if you want to be a panelist and come talk to us. Or if you have, we can also send over the mural link and you can contribute your own tools and your own Goodreads and other things that you would like to put on here. Does that sound about right, Sandy? Did I miss anything?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is really quick, I'm just going to see if anyone had some time to kill on a Thursday, and I guess not. So we're just us. I'll look over on YouTube.
Sent out the promo way too late.
Yeah, that's okay. We just did it at the last minute. So there is somebody that did like us and is watching. So whoever that mystery person is, thank you. And let me go ahead and share my screen and start the process. So okay. So here is a masterpiece where we're looking at the Goodreads out of the things that are corresponding to interesting things you may want to consider. I want to start with this because Sococo. This is something that you showed me before in terms of like something that the GVDS should consider. And I'm going to share my whole desktop so that when I open this thing up, you'll be able to see after I double click on it. So it's not just a list. But with this particular tool, apparently what you do is if you're in a remote team, this puts you in a virtual environment. So literally, you're not necessarily just a floating head on a screen. You can essentially be someone where you're talking and it emulates what you're like in the room. I mean, did I get that right, Sandy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, looks like you're literally in the same office again, but virtually.
Yeah, just when you thought you can get out of the office by working remotely, they're going to put this in front of you and say, yep, you're now a colored head, and I'm going to figure out if you're in the kitchen or in the studio or wherever. But some people do need this. Some people need to feel a sense of either belonging or space, whereas disembodied and just being in a video is something that doesn't make sense for people. So have you had personal experience with this tool, Sandy?
No, I have not. I was just about to sign up, but then I thought, hey, let's just wait until GVDS starts, and then I can leverage the whole 14 days trial so that I can use it with my team. But it looks really, really interesting to me. Like there is like a kitchen, like you can set up your bathroom, you can set up a library, all that stuff. I don't know how they can do the kitchen. Like I don't know if they will actually have food you can order and everyone get on like, hey, let's eat a pizza together now or something. I have no idea, but it's going to be very interesting, I think.
Yeah, it needs some sort of like actual food creator like extension so that you actually can have like a small box next to where you sit and just hit a button and it'll, yeah, I'm thinking Star Trek stuff. By the way, the Lisa Rothstein's on the Zoom. She came into there. Lisa, tell us in chat if you want to join us and have a conversation about cool tools or not, or if you just want to hang out and listen to us. So she says, so is this like Second Life in the office? No, I could be. But yeah, I think
she wants to join, so maybe just get her in.
Yep, let me go ahead and bring her over and do. So Lisa, you're going to see a prompt that says promote. That's you want to join as a panelist. You'll come over. Your video and audio should kind of snap on, and then you can either just choose to talk or you can choose to be video centric. Either way is fine with us. Right. So that was Sococo. Let me go ahead and.
Did you sign it up? Did you sign up the trial?
No. I did not. No, because I've, you know me, I'm saturated with a whole bunch of like stuff I'm currently doing. So
yeah.
And I'm also at the point where I'm maxing out my memory on Chrome to the, so that every time I click on something, I'm getting a spinning rainbow disk of death, which is fine. Okay, so let's go and stay in co-working spaces and go to Akimbo Virtual Net Co-working. This is, again, these are all ones that Sandy Lamb has put in here. And I will say that I've kind of put my toe in the pool with this particular aspect of things. I think, Sandy, you've been part of this as well, where you can go in and it's a combination of video spaces through Zoom and conversations that are happening in some of the boards. So people kind of meeting up and talking with one another.
Yeah,
and
maybe we can actually show what it looks like inside. Let me see if I can grab the link very quickly. I have it
so this is Seth Godin. So this is somebody that's basically is behind all the MBA and the marketing seminar. So he created this in response to what's going on with the pandemic. And let me see, I've got two here. Real Skills Digital Conference. I didn't know I signed up for that. Okay, so this is what it looks like. This is basically a whole bunch of different areas where you can do co-working Zoom rooms. You can get into a discussion board, which is something that I tend to go into, the meetup groups as well. So there's miscellaneous. So it's basically, it'll also tell you how active which one is. So meetup obviously is there, same with discussion. Pitches is interesting that it has that much activity, but you can jump in anywhere you want, especially if you want to meet new people. I've networked and met a few people through this space, and I started one up for remote facilitation and design sprints, I believe, on the discussion side.
And the daily trade, right?
Yes, and the day traders, which gets less. I mean, right now, if you want a kind of a visual, you know, you can see it with the screen share, but I'm actually monitoring the market right now and just watching it like gyrate between like going up and down. So there's that. So let's see the meetup groups.
Hey, I also pinned that office yoga. Did you join?
Oh, office yoga? Oh, on this one on Wednesdays and Mondays? No, I didn't see that. So there's office.
They pinned it, I guess. I thought you.
Oh, so it maybe it reached a certain level of like note, like there was enough. I know they pinned some things with like end of day and plan the day, but office yoga seems to be popular.
But what I really like in here is actually the Zoom room. I mean, the meetup is also great because it actually have all the tools there to allow you to set up a virtual meetup very quickly. But what I really like is is this the room?
No, these are links. There's the topics.
Okay.
Oh, so they co-working room, coffee room.
Yeah,
so there's
don't
different
click on it because there are people in there.
Yeah, I don't want to broadcast and say like, hey, now the whole world knows that you're working on art or something.
But it's very interesting for me, like especially the silent co-working room. At first, I thought like why would I even want to bother like just turning on my camera, turning on my camera, but turning my sound off, and I
Yeah.
just like focus and work, and like why would even I need that, right? But once like at first when I joined, I felt really awkward because I was like, are people really watching me, like working? But then it's just a weird feeling because like when I think about it, when I work in the office, it's exactly the same thing, right? Like we work together and like we are there, but we are not really looking at each other, but we can still see each other. And it creates the same kind of feeling to me. And then once I got past that mind blocker, then I felt like actually I was much more focused when a group of people working with me silently there. So that was very interesting experience.
So I find that unless you have a large amount of bandwidth, that it actually may be counterproductive. In that, if you need that bandwidth, and other people like I have in the home office here with the rest of the family, if you need that bandwidth for other things like streaming, or if my wife, for example, is doing business, I don't necessarily want to tax the bandwidth by just showing people that I'm staring at a screen. So it depends on your situation. Um, I will say that sometimes it's very I wouldn't say distracting, but it brings you in if you're watching somebody do something else, like actually physically like working on something. And maybe it's the whole like, guys wanting to watch other guys work on cars or like lawnmowers, like thing that I may have been raised on. So I don't know, but it's an interesting experience just to try it out and see if it works for you. For me, I was actually purposely trying to distract people that were working if they were looked at. So I was doing like this, like na 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 na, and just
Oh, so evil.
going just or sitting there and just like acting like I got a real bad head scratch, or put my arm off camera and make it seem like somebody's trying to grab me and throw me off my chair. I just want to see if anyone was paying attention, and they don't. So not the
So
stream you
bad.
want to have if you have a personal emergency, because they will not help you. Those unfeeling working people that are on the other side.
No,
So.
they won't help you. But it was great. Like my experience has been great there. And people would actually motivate each other. They're like, "Oh, I am like having a great day today, or whatever. Like really productive, or I need a break." Like they do put stuff in the chat to kind of keep everyone have the momentum to keep working. So
Yeah. Lisa, you have any thoughts? You hanging out? What's going on with you? No? Nothing?
we don't hear you.
And we don't hear you.
She's unmute, but I think her audio has some issues. She's saying some sign language. I don't know if you can pin her video so you can show it.
Take a look. Yeah. No audio. That's weird. But you're not muted on my end. Okay. All right. So I'll go ahead. All right. There you go. Wow. The quarantine where Lisa is probably pretty strict if she can't even talk. Yeah. Be right back. Okay. You'll be right back. Okay. We be here. Yes. You'll go figure out. Okay. Yeah. See you. I just offended half the world. All right. Okay. Let's minimize this. And you'll have to tell me when she's back. Let's go ahead and close this and go into the next one, which is things to do. This one is called the Museum of the World, and I've never heard of this before. So this is a British museum with Google, and is this, you have to tell me what this is all about, Sandy, because I've never seen this before.
Apparently, they are not the only ones. So apparently, there are lots of different museums around the world. They started to have like a virtual tour of what their exhibitions, basically. And this is just one example with the British Museum. I think it's done by Google. I think just by the name. Yeah, so it's like a virtual space where you can. I mean, obviously you cannot see the real thing, but they showed you some of them. They even show you like 360 views of the exhibitions, and some just have pictures and descriptions. But a lot of the museums around the world are having that kind of exhibition right now. So
And they don't mind turning the audio on so that you can completely hear the explosion right underneath where the website accepts cookies. So you can't turn it off. You have to just basically go, okay, this is I meant to have the audio experience. But keep going. What were you saying?
No, that's all. Yeah, that's the one link I have put in there. But I actually have a list of different museum. Maybe I can also add it to the mural later.
Okay. And it looks like you can scroll over here on the left. You can choose all different sorts of color dots depending on when major events happened, looks like. So if I click on one, the green one in Asia, it says a hanging scroll painting. So this is to find out more. And then it gives you some, okay, so it gives you some context as to what exactly it is. The audio, the maps, related objects. So literally you can go in here and do a lot of searching, but it looks like given what's going on here, you kind of need to adjust like your reading because the audio is really, or the yeah, I have to kind of zoom in to see what this is. Okay, cool, interesting.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
I just add one more there. I don't know if you want to show it, but yeah.
Yeah, I will. Let me get out. Let me leave the British Museum and like time warping. Can I go in the future? No, it's a 2 million BC.
I can go in the future.
Okay, wait a minute. No, I am going in the future. AD. Oh, no. Oh, I see. It's today. And I'm still stuck on the.
I could go in space.
Kozo the double-headed dog. Yeah, you could. Oh, there you go. Now you're in space.
I know.
So you're actually above us. But yeah, you could stay in space. That's fine. Let's see. Okay, so we have Neflix Party is the next one. What's
this
Netflix
one?
Party?
I don't have experience with. I just saw the website because I don't even have Netflix at home. But apparently people are having party there.
So basically you can watch Netflix with your friends online and synchronizes video playback so that you can group chat while you're watching something.
That's cool.
I see. So literally if you're watching like what they're showing now on my side, which is I'm forgetting the animator's name. Lisa, you could probably help me out with this. Very famous. It's Ghibli Studios. Miyazaki?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. The man who hand draws literally everything he does or did before he retired. Just amazing.
This reminds me of the scene of, to date myself, and When Harry Met Sally, when before they're dating and they're both in bed watching Casablanca together, but Casablanca's on TV and they're talking to each other on the phone and commenting about the movie. But it's like they're watching it together. But that movie was in like what, 1988 or something like that. And this is like the new version of doing that. You know,
I can imagine a lot of people who are very sarcastic and like to post like real snide comments getting together and kind of crashing one of these in a way where it's just like it's a lot of fun, but it would gather the same people of the same kind of disposition in the same kind of space. So
well, I think you have to invite people though, don't you? Have to invite your friends, like only your friends would come.
That's true. Yeah, I don't think they have general rooms. Maybe they do. General rooms would be interesting.
Maybe
like
I guess you could maybe that would be cool. Hey, here are a bunch of people watching Breaking Bad or something, or that's not Netflix.
Or it'll take one bot to ruin that room, so you'll probably have to have it closed of some type.
It's a great idea though.
Let's see.
Hey, Robert.
Yes.
Do you mind doing me a favor? Can you click on that little cross button on the bottom right corner so that you close that?
Oh, this one? Yeah.
It bugs me.
That's okay. We are in a shared desktop space, so that you actually would want your preferences being put in here. So I understand. Okay, so
now can you change the desktop to pink?
Desktop to Hank?
To pink.
To pink.
To a pink theme. No, just kidding.
Oh, a pink theme for the desktop.
Going.
No. You just want me to put a pink poop emoji on my desktop, don't you? Forget what's even there.
We forgot that on this mural here.
It was hastily done. Otherwise, I would have put it in one of the O's in Cool Tools and done it that way. So, okay. So, what else we got? We do you want to pick one out here, Sandy? Since I've kind of picked 2 or 3.
Can we go for the fun stuff, which is the toilet paper thing?
Yeah, and I'll also I will also put in chat here for Lisa's benefit the mural that we're looking at. So if she wants to add anything while we're babbling on, she can do so. Okay, so where's the toilet paper thing?
Should I summon you?
Yeah. Oh, right here. How much toilet paper? There you go. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's
so
a great. That's funny that out. Yeah.
how much toilet paper? The simple calculator for how much toilet paper you will last 53 days or 739% of your quarantine. It's too bad. Do they have one for like sanitizer and pizza and other things, or is just this?
Oh,
is just
that I don't know. I only know this one. Someone
Okay.
gave it to me.
So let's say I have 50 rolls. Like I was early on Sam's Club and basically got a ton of it. So the last 267 days, my toilet visits per day. Well, I guess it depends on my diet, right? If I'm the average person in the 3, then that. But if I'm calculating just not me, but like the 7 other people that live with me, then it's 21. Well, actually, no, it is per person. How many people would go? So if you have really bad problems, it's 24. You'll last 30 days.
You also have to click on the advanced options.
Okay, let me do that. So we're not only doing cool remote tools, but we're also very much into practical ones. Average number of wipes per trip. Oh my goodness.
You have to put all that data in, or they don't know how much toilet paper you're.
I never keep track. I think it's just I'm very efficient, so it's like let's do 1. So I'm gonna last 3 days. Yep. I don't waste time. No, imagine like let's go all the way to like 15. I mean, that's your wrist is going to get tired after a while, just sitting there, just cranking away, trying to get every little thing out of there. So, yeah. And let's say you had the sheets per wipes. There's 2. What if you just scaled this all the way up? You you were in a hurry. You just wad 10 in the hand, and yeah, that's a lot of chafing, I would think, especially with that many rolls. So sheets on a roll is 160. Is there such a thing where there's over 1,500 per sheet or 1,500 per roll? Is that possible?
No, I don't think so.
What kind of spool would you have to have 1,500 sheets of toilet paper on a single roll? It makes no sense. That makes absolutely no sense.
No.
Okay, so I'm gonna bring it back down to a reasonable like 200, maybe.
Actually, maybe if you think about those industrial kind of toilet paper, like those huge roll that in the public washrooms, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not sure actually, but.
I like the days of quarantine. That one's practical, so you can actually see how long you're going to be in quarantine. You can like brax it out. So I actually think it needs to be longer, especially if we're in the US. We don't have a government that's very smart about what they're doing. So this actually should be longer than 90. I think it's more than 3 months. But if you want to go that route, you can do that. And then you last 22 days.
And it has a percentage. It will say like 24%, like or something on top.
So let's picture worst case scenario. Let's say like you're 90 days in quarantine with 10 people in the household. You have 200 sheets of value, 10 sheets per wipe, and you're wiping 15 times. Like you really have problems. You're going to the toilet, let's say 10 times a day. I mean, you're doing nothing but bean burritos and Doritos. So you have steady flow. Rolls you have, let's say, it's your last one day.
That's code blue. You know, that's
wow. That's that's lockdown in more than one way. So and it doesn't matter. Oh, I can last 2 days if I have 120 rolls. Okay, so let's bump it up. Oh, 3 days. Thank goodness. So 3 days if I have 200 rolls of toilet paper. I go to the bathroom 10.
Just stop eating.
Minutes a day.
Just don't eat. Yeah.
All right, so let's say we're not really into like starting a fire down below. So let's bring this back to like say it affects it a little bit. Let's say we'll get the custom 3. It looks like 3 is the average. We're also going to scale back the amount that we're doing, so we'll do 2.
Oh God, they can't do anything with 2.
All right, come on. All right, 3. Jeez. We'll go 3 then.
You're a little generous, yeah.
You can't do anything with 3. You need like 10.
Yes. I don't want you going to the bathroom, bud. You're gonna start scaring me. So there's 5 people. Let's say 5. I don't know. That's what we were trying to find out too. Is why would you wipe your butt 10 times? And and 90 is just gonna be the default in terms of days of quarantine. So total visits per day. Do we really want to go to the bathroom 10 times a day?
No.
Well, how many go like 3?
No.
Three's probably better, right?
No, I only go like once.
Well, for other people, there may be an average of 3, right?
They would probably go like.
Well, you also have to figure out, well, this is, so we're talking poops here. Now we're not talking like just going like number 1, number 2. It's actual poop.
I can't wait for people to watch the replay on YouTube of this.
So
I actually think it's gonna be like 4 or 5 because that's how much I have. So
well, for babies and old people, maybe they would have a little bit more, right? Because they're either incontinent or they just eat a lot more, right?
Yeah.
Well,
You know how
also
many
everybody's
times you have
home.
to-
Everybody's home now, so like you're only going at home. So
Yes, that's true. So it's just at
Yes.
home.
Some people are fat, so they just really just go. Like, really, some people are fat, so they just go like.
Yes, well, let's be
They go
sensitive.
like they go like 100 times.
No, they don't. Come
that's
on,
not
man.
true.
You're just being. They're so.
I probably qualify as a fat person, and that's not true.
Yes, and so do I. So you never see me do that much. So we're gonna last over a year with the amount of toilet paper we have. I'm
Oh,
glad we
that's
cleared this
awesome.
up.
You are good to go.
We're set. Are you
You've
ready?
always
We're
been
gonna
one.
be
We
fortunate.
don't even have 200.
200 rolls.
No, we don't.
How many do we have?
We have like 5. We have like 10.
We only have 10.
Yeah, we only.
Uh-oh.
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 We're only gonna last 22 days now, bud. We're in trouble.
We have like 10.
We better order from Sam's Club in a hurry.
We only have like 10 rolls of toilet paper.
That you've seen. There's also stuff that's underneath the cabinet too, right?
There's like 1 million.
Yes, we have a ton. It just depends on where you look. Okay, let's get out of toilet paper and let's go back to the list. And let's see, we have a coronavirus panic. Oh, that's good in terms of like the actual Lego. Yeah, that works.
Oh, that's hysterical.
Yeah, that works. So we have keep up your practice, core yoga on demand. So this is a list of the 12 museums you were talking about,
Yeah.
Sandy, right? So these are different ones that you can do, depending on what you want to do. Oh, then no, can't do that.
Oh, you know
Okay,
what? I don't know if it's still on. I think it may be over by now, but the Metropolitan Opera in New York was streaming opera for free on their website for the past.
Oh, for like a limited time, they were just trying it out.
Well, I think it was just like a 2-week period where they were doing that as a.
No,
I think it's a come on to people to join their thing and you know and pay like $15 a month to do it, but they were doing it for free for a couple of weeks.
Oh, okay. Okay. So it looks like for this particular list, it has all sorts of links to the Van Gogh Museum, the Rijksmuseum, Pergamon. I mean, pretty much it's international. And beyond the one that we showed before, Sandy, are there any? Did you visit any of these or any particular ones, or did you just see the link and said this one has like a comprehensive list?
I just saw the list. Yeah, it's a collection of someone's. So someone just sent it to me. I haven't gone to most of them actually.
Okay. All right. So there's one that has Street View feature. Another one is a virtual tour of the British Museum I think that was what we saw. They have a virtual walkthrough of the Musée d'Orsay. Yeah, there's a lot here. So that's a really good find.
Yeah.
By the way, we'll beyond kind of putting the beyond like putting this up for watching on YouTube later, we'll include the mural that you've created with these links so that if people
Really?
want, yeah.
That mural.
really?
And it's not like you're putting your signature on it, okay? People don't necessarily know. Oh, I did actually say that you were the one who curated it, so you'll have to live
Yes,
up
you-
to it. You'll be a low point
No.
in your service design like mural career.
Oh no.
I think you'll be okay. Okay, so let's close this down and take a look at some of the other ones. We have online tours. Let's go into this one. Which one is this,
Yeah,
Sandy?
yeah.
This is online
just
tours
another-
for. Go ahead.
It's just another one from. It's just another museum. I haven't gone to it actually, but I think it's just like a 3D kind of view.
Oh, and it uses Macromedia Flash Player. Okay, so you kind of need to go into it and take a look at. You can look at these, but it looks like you're going to have to use something that's going to be phased out by the end of the year. So the Louvre have got to step it up and do some HTML5 updates. But then
Yeah,
there's
I
that.
get ya.
Even Yahoo.
Yes, even Yahoo.
Yahoo.
Oops. Wrong one. By the way, is there anybody? Oh, it looks like Jerome and Mardea are there.
Yeah.
Actually,
I'll
let
say
me.
hi to them.
Yeah, let me go ahead and put the link up there so you can get into there.
Get over here.
Concentrate on your work, bud.
No.
I gotta count to 5. You gotta leave. Concentrate on your work, please. Okay. So I sent over the link to in YouTube. So if they want to put stuff up there, they can. We down Akimbo Museum, Neflix party. So these two links over here on the projects to help are things that I'm familiar with. One of them anyway, and the other one is the COVID Project for Good Design. Let's visit those pretty briefly. So this is helpful engineering. Now I have to ask Sandy. I saw in the Slack for helpful engineering that they've already gone through a process where they're sending stuff in for consideration. Like they literally had like a structured process for submitting something for medical supplies and for other things like that. But at this point with helpful engineering, is it just basically a matter of volunteering or going into Slack? I mean, what's been your experience?
So I don't know the process outside Slack, but within, I think I would imagine it's the same stuff. So in maybe you can show the Slack group. You have it, right? Or
I do. I think I just have to fire it up in Slack and bring it over here. Somewhere over here. Or maybe I didn't add it on this side. Hang on. Let me see if I can go through there. Oop, let me get out of this. Go into this link. The inviting is no longer active. Okay. So yeah, they've shut down Slack, or at least it's not as active as it was. So they started back earlier in March. Their projects are reviewed. So they use Slack primarily just for this this initiative that I was talking about, the peer review for engineering's initial wave.
It's super well organized. They basically send out like a form to people, like if you want to submit a project, and then you have to formulate it very structurally, and then they review it, and then after a certain time, then they will say, okay, here are a list of projects that people can volunteer for, and here are the skills they need. Here are those types of people they need. And then within the Slack channel or the Slack group, there are different channels. So they use hashtags. So like the channels called when it begins with the project, and then their channels begins with skills. So then you can go to look for the skills that you have. So like, for example, in the channel of skills UI UX, then you can join that group. And then within the project, you can look for the project that you are interested in, and then you can join that group. And then whenever a project needs a volunteer for a certain skill, then they will go to the skill channel and then say, hey, I need a UX UI designer here. Does anyone have any time to volunteer? And then when you are in that group, then you get a notification and then say, hey, this project looks interesting. And then you can volunteer that way. Yeah,
I think I don't have Slack on this laptop. That's the reason why it didn't come up. But I know that I've registered on a different one. And they do have like subgroups like that where basically you can either declare that you're available, or you can basically find out based on what the available threads are where you can kind of submit. And I was
showing. You could say that your mom is a little bit annoying.
Well then, sit over there, bud. They do have a form for volunteers. If you want to put that in there on their website, you can do that. I don't know if it's related to the Slack. It could be, but it doesn't hurt to kind of put in your information and see where that goes. So that's at least one helpful possibility.
Yeah, and it has all sorts of projects. So they have projects like 3D printing parts for medical devices, hand making masks, so then people can volunteer and produce masks for hospitals and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty cool, I thought.
So the last one here is the designers wanted for the COVID-19 project for good design. And this is in Australia, it looks like. So this is the COVID-19 design challenge. You want to say anything about this?
I'm not totally familiar with this, but Jackson sent this to me and said that, he just sent it to me, and then I looked at it. It looks like you can join, and then they will organize some projects that whoever needs some kind of design, then they will recruit you or something. That sounds like that.
And it looks like it's a combination of IBM and Design for America. And in collaboration with them, they're basically taking in challenge statements, distilling down into 7 large themes. So it's almost as similar to what the GVS is doing, although they're doing it on a larger global scale from the perspective of using their brand as well as like their organization to kind of bring some focus into this. It's interesting. And they have on Facebook and Twitter, so you can share this out. So when you're joining, they actually have an application for you to get in. I wonder if it's going to operate in the same way that the engineering one did, where they're going to kind of put you into Slack once they identify you and where you go. Have you joined this at all, or
No?
Because it
No,
looks
I have
like
not.
that it looks like they're not accepting it according to this, because they say the participants required for this first round of workshops has exceeded.
Okay.
So it's a beautiful kind of like a successful disaster, in that it was too popular and people wanted to help too much to the point where they couldn't really manage it. On March 25th. Yep, it was. And in one day, they pretty much got all the help that they were looking for.
Oh wow, good point. I
Well,
didn't even notice
you can't
that.
be too timely with this stuff, because it's probably going to turn around pretty fast. So, okay.
True.
Thanks a lot, Sandy. No, I'm kidding. So I've got some links too. I shared the link in YouTube with Jerome and Mardea, who are out there. I'm going to go ahead and pause the share just for a second, because I have to open up a different application that's in my email. But I'm going to put some links up so that we can check those out in just a second. So I've got to kind of look in my buried email, because my email's a disaster right now.
Hey Robert, can you give me a QR? Can you share me a QR code on from that mural?
I don't know if there is there one.
If you click share, if you click the pink share button, I don't know, I've never done it before, but I'm trying to join it with my iPad. Okay.
So let's see. I'm in share. I see anonymous link. I see invite people.
There's no. Yeah, I don't see it. All right, I'll figure this out another time. Thanks a lot.
Okay. All right, going back on pause. Yeah, for people that join the mural that don't want to be identified or that don't have an account, they join as virtual pets. So they're just in name, but they don't show up as virtual pets in the interface. Yes, because we've worked together before, so we're familiar with all this. Give me a minute. I'm just generating the links, and I've gone through a couple of these, and they're actually really well done. One more. I'll bring up 5, and yeah, this one. Okay, most of them are curated by the same company, or that put these out there as kind of like a compilation for just this morning. But one article I really like from Monday Remote is basically some things that work for global teams, some essential things you could do. And they kind of list them here, but one-on-one virtual coffee dates is another. I find that's something that people don't do enough of, that's a way of socializing and normalizing how to look at each other through a screen, is like actually enjoying something to drink while you're doing it. People feel a little inconspicuous sometimes because they've had experiences where people are too close to their microphone while they're chewing on something that they're in lunch, so it's distracting. But the coffee or tea or some sort of beverage isn't as invasive, and all you really hear is either the cup going down, or if someone's a giant slurper, you do it that way. But essentially, in this list, they've got a lot of different ones. Like,
except if you keep doing this, then it may be different.
Yes.
Do you hear?
Well, that's part of the fun about having kids at home, is that they tend to do that every so often. But then I have to say, okay, Alden, I'm going to have to penalize you to keep on doing it. You got to work on your work, please. Okay? Or else you got to leave the room and go in the other room because it's too distracting. Okay? That's all it is. It's either or. Okay, so there's this one in terms of like the global teams that work. Alden, last chance. Then you're leaving. Then you have to talk to mom. Got it? Okay. And then there's another one here where it's more of an opinion piece, but it's something I've been forwarding to a few people where they're on the fence about whether or not this is something that's going to stick with their particular organizations. And my belief is that this isn't going away, and we're pretty much seeing the new norm. The in-person stuff is probably going to be at the beginning and at the end of most projects where people are going to get to know one another, but primarily our work is going to be online, and it's going to be that way for years to come, and it's only going to probably accelerate once the tools get better.
I agree, because this quarantine is not going to end like in few days. It's going to end probably few months, and then that essentially is creating new habits for people, right? And it forms a new habit. So when it ends, then people will be like, I can't even go back to what it was before. It's like how we now have computer, we can't even go back to this age that we don't have computer anymore.
Yes. This article in particular goes into that, and it goes into that topic, but does it in a way so that it makes the case for people that are running companies and finding talent and hiring people, showcasing the inherent advantages of kind of adopting remote as a remote first philosophy within the organization. And all of these basically are backed up by different links to research and to examples that have been posted. So all of these are appealing from like a C-level or a leadership kind of perspective. And so this is something that I'm generating more shares with, and I'll probably put it on LinkedIn later. But I sense that the conversation has fundamentally changed. First, it was a shock for people where they're trying to emulate what they do in a physical environment online. You always have to have your video on, you have to check in every 5 minutes, all of those kind of weird control mechanisms that don't really seem to work. This is just basically saying, look, this is where it's going, and this is the reason why it makes sense to do so. And culturally, it's going to take some time for people to get there. I have 3 more. Another one is the tools that you need to become remote ready, which is something that prompted me to kind of go in the direction that you did with suggesting this topic. So basically, they go into things that we're very familiar with, Sandy, like Zoom, Slack, and combining those two, and how to basically use them. G Suite is something that they promote, though that's more for organizations, and it's a little tricky because you have to go through security and other measures to basically make that happen.
I was going to say.
Yeah. So they're promoting it because they use it, but there are other productivity tools in that space that have less friction and don't involve a lot of kind of overhead. I'm a user of Box, so I'm on board with that, because Box is like the low-key Dropbox kind of thing, but this one has a lot of inherent functional tools. I'm not sure about Eventbrite, but that's something that I think maybe like I've seen people more or less use it for paid engagements than anything else.
Yeah, why Eventbrite?
I don't know.
What can you use it for? Like for your organization, for example?
It's basically like something, it's like an extension to the organization.
Oh,
Lisa,
company party. Okay.
Yeah, like the things like that. So it's not necessarily for internal like usage, but more for like external like planning and things like that. Lisa, what about you? Do you have any particular tools that you've been using remotely with your work that you would want to kind of put in this space?
Well, the only I'm trying to enter on my iPad, and it's just really hard when I'm not in your workspace. So I've never done it before. So I'm on the mural on my computer, but I was trying to enter on my iPad so I could draw on the mural, but I can't seem to do it. But yeah, as far as I need like a 12-digit code or some kind of a thing that's not. Worry about that later. You've mentioned a lot of the things. You've mentioned the shared watch parties and stuff like that. A piece of hardware that I've been using, as you've noticed, is this green screen that I've got that all of my friends really want. It's called a web around, and it fits on the back of your chair. And my office, quote unquote, my workspace here is really messy, and so I've always had like a big like Japanese screen and stuff that I put up behind me, but now I can be anywhere I want. I mean, my hair looks a little weird. I need to light myself better, but a lot of people, until I tell them, don't know that this is a virtual background that I got from deposit photos. So as you saw, there's some backgrounds that already come with Zoom, like Space and in San Francisco. But I downloaded this. I downloaded this background. This is one I really like. So yeah, so you're using it. You're using it too. I use a green screen. I know you don't actually absolutely need one, but this green screen it's just a big circle that folds up into a little bag. And so I mean, I know it sounds for a lot of people it's probably pretty basic, but I mean, all of my friends have run up to Amazon to buy this. I think I have a link here. I can put it in.
Okay.
I don't know anybody else who makes anything like this, but it's so great because it's so portable. And so if I wanted to, I'm not going to be at a hotel anytime soon, but once we can start to travel again, you know, you can use this to kind of create the space that you want, and be, you know, and it's a little fun conversation piece too. Like I can say I'm in hell because I can't work, you know, I can't see anybody and I'm getting stir crazy or, you know, floating around in space. For those who have discovered this a long time ago and using green screens, it's no big deal. But for those of us who really just didn't know how to do it, it just adds a lot of fun, a little bit of a fun element to doing this. And also, you know, I'm just learning about Mural and all these great. We were starting to learn about it before the virus hit, and now I'm really ramping up how much I learned. That's why I want to get my iPad app to work, because you know, it really I think I'm very hopeful that this is going to be something that will last long beyond when we can get back together in the office. That people will get used to meeting this way, and it won't substitute for in-person meetings, but it will allow people to collaborate a lot more often, a lot better. A lot, you know, just especially from far away and from disparate places.
Yes.
So I'm excited about that.
Plus also the green screen that you're talking about that you're currently using, that's something I've seen people use where they're in tight spots, where they're in like flats. They don't have a lot of room. Maybe they're
Right.
sharing a space where there's a washer and dryer in the background, and they don't necessarily want to have like something like I do with a virtual space.
There are things like that in the background, and so it used to be that I would set up at a part of my living room that had a bookshelf with my, you know, college diploma on it and a bunch of other things. So I kind of like set up the stage. Right now we've got both my husband and I work from home. We've got so much stuff in our living space right now that there's no way that I could sort of style a space in here that would look good. That's why I bought this thing, but it's turned out to be kind of like I say, like sort of a conversation piece. And I've decided I really like my little turquoise office, so I'm to think I'll just live there for now.
Snap camera is really popular. I'm seeing more and more people adopt it. So it just really depends on how you use it. But you can have kind of masks like this where you actually look like you're doing different things. So that came up in the last Global Virtual Design Sprint, and since then we've been kind of playing with it every so often.
What that is. That's great. I love it. I've seen that on Facebook Live. It's fun. It's a fun little novelty. But actually, I think if I don't tell people about the fact that I'm using this, and if I would like myself a little bit better, people just accept that this is where you are, and that's it. And it just kind of it keeps everything, you know, helps you brand yourself. It keeps things from being distracting, and you know, it's just I think it's rather than it can be a creative thing, but it can also just be a very practical, like you say, a place for tight spots. So yeah.
Yep.
Right. I added one more there at the bottom of that one there.
Okay. Let me go through the last couple of ones here really fast.
Oh, right. Okay.
One is that there was somebody from Ars Technica who's been working at home for 22 years, and it had some really good suggestions in here. It's more long form reading, so it's not necessarily something where it has like top 5, but it is good to get that perspective from somebody who knows the space very well. So that's one that I found was really interesting.
I'd love to see that.
And that one, well, can't really do much with that. That's a dead link. So so Sandy, let's close it out with this one right here. This is this one looks like people are skipping Zoom meetings by looping videos of themselves paying attention. Interesting. So they just upload a video and that basically they go off and do their own thing. Well,
they just put it as their background, and then you can essentially just exit and then like exit the video, and then your boss will think that you are still listening.
See, now that's okay, but the problem is that you still have to get what you've been asked to get done. So maybe this is a counter to meaningless, kind of like always on, always paying attention kind of stuff, where it's a
And
counterbalance
there are
to that.
lots of them, you know. There are lots of meetings. It's just kind of meaningless, right? So
Yeah, that's almost like this entire dynamic is putting that on its head, where people are kind of saying, yeah, you know, it's like the folks at 37 Signals have always said, there's really nothing in a meeting that you couldn't disseminate information with by just writing it down and sending an email. That meeting should be about critical decisions. You don't tax people's time. I think a lot of the stuff they put in the remote work from anywhere book 7 years ago still applies today. There's a lot of stuff that they're very strongly opinionated about, but it's still applicable to what we're going through right now. I think it's just a matter of revisiting that and saying, yeah, that makes sense. So, right. I think that's everything. Do either of you have anything you want to close out with, or anything you want to recommend in terms of like QL, 2Ls that you could consider for being online and remote working?
You've covered most of it. I mean, my mother keeps calling me and asking me how I'm doing, and I'm saying, well, my life is pretty much the same as it was before. I'm on Zoom all day, working on my iPad and you know, drawing cartoons or writing copy for customers, and it's pretty much all the stuff that people are discovering now. We've been doing for a long time, but I'm also discovering great new tools like Mural. So
yeah. And plus, I get a really good perspective from other people that are trying this out for the first time. They do something different that you've never considered because they just don't know about it.
I feel like she's in
Right.
another virtual background.
She is. That's a green screen in the back. So what you're seeing there with Lisa's background, that's all digital. That doesn't exist. Did you think it was real?
Kind of. It kind of didn't look real because it was like virtual, like, so I already knew.
Yeah. Then so let's look at let's go over to Sandy's, and you're gonna have to tell me. I'm gonna pin her video here. Do you think that she has a virtual background or a real background?
She probably has real background.
So that's a real background. Sandy, what's the answer?
it is a real background.
It is. Okay. So
Tricky this day to know what is real and what is not. Yeah.
yeah,
no,
yeah,
it's the deep fake.
it's a deep fake.
Yeah.
So
So
You
I'm
wanna
drawing.
bring it
I'm
back
drawing
on
on the mural with my finger, you guys.
okay. So we'll do one last thing here. I'm gonna go ahead and change my background to something that my son wants to do. So you gotta select which one you like. We have all these different ones down here. Which one would you prefer to do? Which one? The Halloween one? Okay.
No.
This one?
That's my favorite as well.
The kittens. Okay. So we'll actually have to show this if there's like things start to get a little testy in the different stuff.
Now
So
that gets creepy. Like half of his head, like.
all right, Lisa, thank you very much for joining us today. It was a pleasure having you and dropping by.
Yeah.
Jerome and Mardea over there on YouTube, thank you for kind of tuning in and seeing what we're all about. On behalf of my son and his sticking out tongue, this is Remotely Interesting with Sandy Lamb. Thank you, Sandy, for providing the mural and all the links that you did. And, you know, let's look forward to the weekend. And remember, wash your hands, keep your distance, and stay healthy, okay? Nobody gets sick. Okay, take care,
Awesome.
everyone.
Thank you.
Talk to you
Bye.
later, okay?
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.